Welcome back to Discreet Dev Updates. I'm here, as always, with lead developer and co-founder of Discreet, Brandon Kerner. Brandon, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing yourself?
I'm doing great, thanks. Now, I know it's been a while since we've done a formal dev update like this, but I know that there has been a lot going on, so let's dive into it. Mainnet launch, as most people know, which we'd hoped to be ready by the end of this year, regrettably had to be pushed to Q2 2024 at the latest. But the reason that it was pushed was because of the exciting work that's being done on Discreet's novel consensus algorithm called Orem. And I know there have been several compelling milestones reached with Orem, so maybe we can just step back a few months and you can walk us through the development of Orem and take us through right to where we're at now.
Yep. So in order to develop Orem, we started with a cryptographic library that would work on as many different machines as possible and deliver the same security and speed that we need for something like this. So in June, what we did was we developed the cryptographic library BN256, which implements pairing-based curves. These curves are traditionally used for threshold signatures, and they also enable a lot of other primitives that are going to be useful for Discreet down the line. So that was one of the first things we implemented. After that, in July, we worked on integrating that into the test code base and production code base, and we mixed in elements from our other cryptographic library, Discreet Core. And this enabled us to implement a lot of the cryptographic primitives that we're using for Orem, including the threshold signature scheme and key boxes. We also implemented a test implementation of ZK snarks and other privacy-based programming to allow us some code to be used for the testing and implementation of Discreet, which is our programming language for privacy smart contracts. So all of this was implemented and verified, and we were able to verify the speeds and security of the code. In August...
How was the speed and security verified, if you don't mind me asking?
We implemented a series of unit tests. We tested all of these against existing test frameworks. So we took test frameworks from other libraries and we implemented them in our programming language and framework to verify it against something that is used traditionally to verify this type of stuff.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
So in August and September, we worked entirely, so the development team worked entirely on just integrating and developing the Orem consensus. We wanted to implement the finality layer to start with, since this is the most complex piece of code. Overall, we've probably written about 30,000 lines exclusive to just the finality layer. I'm still surprised that we got it done in that period of time, so that was exciting. It posed a lot of unique and difficult challenges for us to solve. I'm really happy with the progress we made during those 2 months. In October.
Sorry to interrupt. When you say the finality layer, you're talking about the aspect of the algorithm that processes transactions?
Yeah. So the consensus is broken up into 3 different pieces. So we have the confidential proof of stake. This is responsible for selecting of all of the nodes on the network that are validators, which ones are going to be part of achieving consensus during a given session of consensus. So we break up consensus into multiple different sessions. Each session is responsible for verifying and minting new blocks for a given number of blocks, so up to a specific block height. This allows us to have a dynamic and rotating consensus committee that essentially allows any node to participate in consensus as long as they have a valid stake.
Okay.
The second piece is the block authority, and the minting authority. This allows all the nodes to agree upon which node in the network is allowed to mint the next block. This is separate from actual consensus, and its whole job is just to make sure that we have a fair minting process. And this is useful for emissions, guaranteeing that if you participate in consensus, you're earning rewards.
Right.
And new coins are being added to the economy. And the final component is the finality layer, and this actually verifies the blockchain. This performs the consensus.
Got it.
So I should also mention that while the actual coin layer uses a blockchain, the consensus is achieved through a communication history DAG. So we're able to reap the benefits of using a blockchain and a DAG at the same time. So this is something that we're happy with and that meets all the expectations that we need for the network to be scalable for a global payment system.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. And I think where I interrupted you, you were just gotten to October.
Yes. In October, the entire mission was to fix all the bugs while we do unit testing throughout the time we write code. When we start integrating everything together, this poses some interesting challenges and bugs. So October, the whole month, we fixed bugs in the finality layer for Orem. And in November, actually not even that long ago, we had the first successful test of Orem, where we were able to achieve consensus on a pretty reliable scale. So we were able to prove a lot of different things. We were able to meet the needs of a Byzantine fault-tolerant network, and we tested it between different machines and different operating systems in 4 different regions.
Well, that's great.
This is a huge milestone.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So what does this mean for Orem? Does that mean is Orem essentially done?
Well,
Ready?
It is in a state where we can begin integrating it with a block authority and the confidential proof of stake down the line and have that ready for testnet. But what we're working on right now is integrating all of that together. So just the finality layer and a block authority and achieving a very stable DevNet. And we have high hopes that we're going to be able to get that done very soon.
Excellent. That's great. Thank you. There are a few other things that I wanted to cover here. We've talked about the daemon many times in the past in these dev updates. What can you tell us about the progress on the daemon development?
I know that in the last update that we did, we talked about the wallet logic changing. We finished up those changes a while back, and mainly what we've been doing in the daemon right now is gearing up for the integration of all the work we've done on Orem into the daemon. So this included overhauling and simplifying our serialization logic. So this changed our packet structure, this changed a lot of different things and made it a lot clearer in the code base on how to use these different elements. And we also just made changes to the overall code base to improve it and make it more readable, which will help with maintenance down the line. So maintaining the code, especially because this adds to the longevity of the project by making the code as clear as possible.
Now, one more thing that I wanted to cover today, if you don't mind. It was over a year ago when we'd formulated our roadmap, and at the time, we thought we were reasonably confident that we might be able to get mainnet launched by the end of this year. Since that time, as is the way with roadmaps, we've had to make some revisions, and we've moved that mainnet launch forward to Q2 2024 at the latest. There's every possibility it'll be sooner than that. But I just wanted to gauge your confidence levels about reaching that Q2 date for mainnet. How are you feeling about that now?
We have most of the difficult items that were posing roadblocks to achieve the original date solved. The main thing that we're going to want to do before then and give us time and breathing room for, which is why we moved the date, is to make sure that the network stays stable. As you know, even though we get everything working, there could always be one small problem down the line. So that's why we just need to allow ourselves some time to make sure that that possibility and the probability for that possibility as close to zero as possible. So I feel like we've gotten most of everything fixed that we could have. It's really just making sure that we can meet the needs of scaling to a global payment system level for Discreet as soon as possible. In terms of new code that needs to be implemented, like I said, we're working on the staking right now. If progress is as fast on that as it was with Orem, and same with the block authority, then that deadline is completely achievable.
Great, that's good to hear. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we wrap it up?
That's all.
Okay, well, we are doing an AMA, sort of a live Ask Me Anything event. It'll be happening in the coming weeks. Probably before the end of the month. We'll put more details once we've got that nailed down in our Telegram, and that'll happen on Spaces, X Spaces, formerly Twitter Spaces, and that'll be an opportunity for people in the community to ask whatever they want to you and to Fred and to me. And in the meantime, keep up the good work. Thanks as always. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Take care.